Good morning, Centers for Spiritual Living Denver. It's your brother Eugene Holden coming at you again on this beautiful, beautiful day, August 14th. Can you believe it's the 14th of August already? Man, how time flies and how good life is. So let's just jump right into this. As we know, the theme for the year is living everyday wonder, living in everyday wonder. And man, every day provides us an opportunity to experience the wonder of this thing called life. Because life really is good. And if we're not in awe, we are not paying attention, as Rumi used to say. If we are not in awe with this everyday wonder, we are not paying attention. So I want you to take a breath. Do you realize what it takes for that breath to happen? Not only are the lungs filling up and expanding and then contracting, but also in that inhale helps to not only oxygenate the blood, but it also exercises the internal organs. If we're not in awe, we are not paying attention. But also, everything that goes on to take care of that breath, or everything that goes into us taking that breath around the world, is just amazing. Not only are the trees and the bushes involved, but there are other things around the globe that assist in us taking that one breath, living in everyday wonder. And so today we are talking about the magic and the miracle of water, but I want to take it on a little different path than what CSL Home Office has written for us, right? And this is a good thing what CSL has going on, because we are really wanting to take care of the water and making sure that we are doing our part to make sure that there's clean water for everyone around the planet. And I want to take it in a different direction, because this month we are talking about nature. And of course, water is a part of nature as well as we are. So the earth has around 75% of water. Here's the interesting thing. Our body contains about 71 to 75% fluid, water, blood, all those other things, right? So there's no surprise that we are connected with the earth, right? So water is not only in the earth and around the earth, but water is also within us. If we are not in awe, we are not paying attention. Now, what I want to say, where I want to go with this, is to be like water, which is a Taoist perception, right? Want to be like water. In the Tao Te Ching, chapter 78, Lao Tzu says this: under heaven, nothing is more soft in yielding than water. Yet, for attacking the solid and strong, nothing is better. It has no equal. The weak can overcome the strong. The supple can overcome the stiff. Under heaven, everyone knows this, yet no one puts it into practice. So what are we talking about being like water, right? Water, man, being like water is being able to almost shapeshift, right? Because water becomes the thing that it is put in. You put water in a glass, the water becomes the shape of the glass. You put water in your hand, the water becomes the shape of the hand. So where we want to go with this is to be like water, especially when we're talking about a river or a stream flowing like water. It continues to flow. It doesn't matter if there's a big boulder in the way. It doesn't matter if there are logs in the way. The water either goes around it or over it or through it. So this is what we are to be as well. So when we have an issue that comes up in our lives, and I know that sometimes we just get so upset about the issues, right? Jokingly, I say, it's okay to have tissues for your issues. Just don't get a subscription, right? So don't hang out in the problem. We want to flow like water through the problem. right? It is in one of the scriptures where it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Catch this. Yea, though I walk through. It doesn't say, yea, though I pitch a tent. Yea, though I build a condo. Yea, though I park my camper. No, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through. We're going to flow through the situation. So, for example, there's a situation that happens, and now we want to set the intention to flow through the situation, the issue. How do we do that? First of all, we take a breath. You see, because once we take that breath, number one, it relaxes the body and it relaxes the mind. And now that the mind is relaxed, now we are opened up to hear the clear vision, the clear directive from Spirit, which is within. You see, I have an experience that I can give you as an example. So there's a conference that I am preparing to go to. In fact, I'm leaving for it tomorrow. But up until 2 weeks ago, I wasn't going to go because, believe it or not, yes, even I, believe it or not, I had this false belief running in my mind that I can't afford to go to this conference. Catch what I just said. I had this false belief that I couldn't go, right? And when someone asked me about going, and that's what I said to them. I'm like, well, I have this false belief that I can't afford it. Well, as it turns out, as I began to let go of the tension, as I began to go with the flow of my heart's desire, doors opened up. The registration fee was taken care of. My hotel room, I'm going to be staying on site where the conference is being held. I'm looking at this, wondering, how did I allow this to happen? Or how did this happen? Right? How did this come about? It was because I decided to go with the flow, being truthful about the false idea, the false belief that I had, and expressing that false belief, knowing that it was a lie, and then allowing Spirit within to move that out of the way so that it can move me in the way of my heart's desire. So we want to be like water. We want to be like water. So when it's time to flow, take a breath, stop, take a breath, and then ask yourself the question: Spirit, divine intelligence, how do I do this? Or even more importantly, Spirit, divine intelligence, I am open, receptive, and available for you to do this through me. Now, let me be clear here. When I say make you to do this through me, I'm not talking about a you that is out there separate from us. I am talking about the you that is within us, right? The I am presence that is within us. So when we have a situation and we seem like we can't get through, stop, take a breath. In fact, you may want to take a step back and go, okay, all righty. There is a way to flow around this boulder. There is a way to flow around this obstruction. There is a way to get past the limitation. And the way to do that is to set the intention to flow with the unlimited power of the divine, which flows within us, flows from us, and then again, it flows as us. We want to be like water. Another way, as I said earlier, is water is a shapeshifter. We want to become whatever the situation is. Now, what do I mean by that? So we have a situation that causes us a little bit of anxiety, right? Now, you know me, I love affirmative prayer. So the first thing I'm going to do is come back to center and affirm that, number one, God is all there is. As Dr. Holmes reminds us, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. I like to say it this way. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. I am that life now. I am the perfect life of God. So in standing in the knowing that I am the perfect life of God, now I can allow spirit to flow through me. And then as we surrender, and then the good of God shows us the way, making a way out of no way. You've heard me talk about surrender before, and I truly believe, and I stand in this truth, I truly know that there are two sides to surrender. The one side is to surrender all of the things that do not serve us. For example, let me surrender the false beliefs that do not serve me. So when I expressed, I have this false belief that ... when I expressed that, that was speaking it out into the universe, and me admitting that I have a false belief. So let me surrender that. So we want to surrender all of the things that do not serve us. That's the one side of surrender. The flip side of surrender, oh my God, is to surrender to the good of life, to surrender to all that does serve us, to surrender to knowing that the registration is taken care of, that the room is taken care of, to surrender that your divine health is right here and right now, to surrender to your gifts and your talents, to surrender to your creativity, to surrender to the good that is already surrounding you. Living in everyday wonder is surrendering to your highest and the best. And as we surrender to the highest and the best, and then now we get to just flow with the love of God. We get to flow as the love of God. So as we become like water, we start to see who else is in the river with us. We lift up our heads and we look around to see who else is in this divine flow of life. And then we get to wave, we get to smile, we get to link up with them arm in arm as we go in the flow of the divine. See, I look at the divine life as a river, and here's what we want to know about the river. We don't need to be concerned about whether or not the river knows where it's going, because the river does know where it's going. It always knows where it's going. And where is it going? The river is flowing to and out into the ocean of the divine. Catch that. That we get to flow with the river as the river into the ocean of the divine. And this ocean of the divine is unlimited. The ocean of the divine is filled with everything that we could ever possibly want or desire. There's a saying in the book that's called The Eye of the Eye that says, the peace of God is so complete and total that there's nothing left to want or desire. The peace of God is so complete and total that there's nothing left to want or desire. And we can put in love. The love of God is so complete and total. The abundance of God is so complete and total. The health of God is so complete and total that there's nothing left to want or desire. So we want to surrender to this flow, knowing that as we surrender, we become not only a part of the flow, we become one as the flow. Now, this is where we get to open up and allow the divine full sway, so that we are flowing as spirit, and spirit is flowing as us. So when we surrender, remember I was talking about surrendering all of the things that do not serve us, and then surrendering to all the things that do serve us. I guess I just realized that there's one more surrender. And that is surrendering to the source of the good, surrendering to the divine presence. Yes, we want to surrender to our gifts. Yes, we want to surrender to the creativity. We want to surrender to the beauty, and we want to surrender to the source of the gifts and the beauty and this thing called life, so that the divine intelligence flows as us. So much so that we can say with our elder brother, the master teacher, Yeshua Messiah, we can say that when you see me, you see the presence that has sent me. Why? Because we are flowing with the power of God. We are flowing with the power of love. I can hear you saying it now. Yeah, Eugene, all that sounds good, but you don't understand. I have bills to pay. I have relationships that are not working. Okay, I understand that. Truly, I do. And it's not that we want to attach ourselves to what's not working. We want to surrender that which is not working. So maybe it's time to let the relationship go, or at least have a conversation that goes like this. You know, the way that this relationship is going is not working for me. How can we make it work? Let's talk about how we can make it work. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to come to a consensus, because maybe the relationship has played out. Maybe it's time to flow on to something else, right? But I can't pay my bills. Okay, here's the thing about that. Surrender that thought, because that's all that it is. That's all that it is. It's a disempowering thought. I can't, right? I can't pay my bills. Oh, that's not the truth. That might be the fact in the moment, but the truth is we are all surrounded by abundance. There's an abundance of everything. There's an abundance of air. There's an abundance of water. There's an abundance of creativity. There's an abundance of ideas that's flowing through you right now. And as it has been said before, I think by Dale Carnegie, or one of those guys during that time, is that you are one idea away from being wealthy. And there's an abundance of ideas flowing through you right now. In fact, you have somebody out there has the idea that, you know, who does Eugene think he is? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know my life. I go back to saying, surrender that thought. See, because I can tell you from experience that those disempowering thoughts will keep us stuck. So instead of asking ourselves disempowering thoughts like, I can't afford this, let's ask the empowering thoughts that go like this. What is wanting to be birthed through me now? What is wanting to flow through me right now? What gifts, what talents can I bring to the world right here, right now? You maybe have heard me say this before. What makes a gift is that we give it away. If we don't give it away, then it's no longer a gift. So what is your gift? Tap into that inner presence and ask it, what gifts want to come out? You know what those gifts are, because they've been tapping at the throne room of your heart since you were a child. They've been tapping at the throne room of your heart as of this morning, or maybe yesterday, or maybe even now. If we are not in awe, my brothers and sisters, we are not paying attention. We want to flow like water. We want to be in the flow of the divine. And the way to do that, once again, is to surrender to that love intelligence that governs the universe, which is showing up in, through, and as you. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. You are that life now. Be like water. Be like water. Let's pray. Oh, how grateful I am for this opportunity to speak this word in this eternal moment that I call now. Right here, right now, I recognize first and foremost that there is a divine intelligence from which all things are created. I recognize that it is at the very center of all of life, from the nucleus of the atom to the expansiveness of the galaxies. All that there is and ever shall be is God revealing himself in through and as everything that is seen and unseen, everything that is known and the yet to be known. It is nothing but God revealing himself in through and as all of life. For in the beginning, God, the Alpha, the Omega, the in between that. And so recognizing and acknowledging that God is all that there is, that God is revealing himself, that God is representing himself in, through, and as all of life. I know that right where I am, God is. For there is no place I can go where God is not. That's impossible, because I am created in the spiritual image, the spiritual likeness, and out of the spiritual nature of the divine itself. And as I know this to be the truth of my life, This is the truth of each individualized expression of God, tuning into my voice right here and right now, tuning in on this beautiful divine technology right here and right now. See, I know that right here, right now, God is, we are. One of the things that I know is that we are all representatives of the one, because the one represents itself as all of us. And so it is in my awareness of our oneness in God that I speak this word. I speak this word for the willingness to surrender. I speak this word for the willingness for each and every one of us to surrender, to be the flow of the divine intelligence, to be not only in the flow, but to be the flow of the intelligent presence that we call God, that love intelligence that governs the universe. I am so very grateful for this willingness that we are now stepping into the divinity of our being, knowing that as we step into the divinity of our being, we are supported, we are guided, we are directed to experience God's greatest good as our lives. For this, and for so much more than these words can ever convey, I remain forever grateful and thankful. It is from this space of gratitude and thanksgiving that I now release this word into the dynamic activity of love and law. You see, I know that as I release this word into the law has no other choice. It cannot help itself. It must take these words and mold them and shape them. It must design them, create them, and then it returns these words unto us, not void, not empty, but absolutely and completely fulfilled. Overflowingly fulfilled, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowingly fulfilled. And so fulfilled, we simply surrender and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Amen. Beautiful being with you, CSO Denver. I'll see you soon. Peace and blessings.